Are you an accidental Satanist? That question probably sounds pretty crazy to you, right? And maybe your first response wants to be a firm no. But after your initial thought, give the question a little more consideration. I mean, is it possible that you are an accidental Satanist? Maybe you said no because you initially don't really know what a Satanist is, and you feel accidentally or intentionally you do not worship Satan, so you can't be a Satanist. Or maybe you said no because you have your own idea of what you feel a Satanist is, and you don't feel that that is you, and you don't really fit with that idea that you have. Whatever your reason for your answer, the reason I ask you that question is because at one time I had to ask it to myself. I was an accidental Satanist for a big part of my life, and I did not know it. And after coming to the realization of this and dealing with a lot of hard truths that needed to be dealt with, I desire that others review this perspective within themselves so they would no longer be deceived just as I was. In one of my videos, I began explaining the weaponization of hip-hop culture. Hip-hop culture was used to introduce the doctrine of Satanism to the masses unknowingly and unsuspectingly. It is a rebranding of rock and roll, which was one of the first genres of music tasked with that goal of indoctrinating the world into a satanic mindset. But hip-hop was later found to be more universal and more widely accepted, and it allowed satanic influences to flourish around the world under the guise of entertainment. From the comment section in that video, it seemed that many were aware of the satanic influence within mainstream music, but also many were not. So I was led to make this video to bring more understanding, because what should be understood is that from this influence in music and many other influential things, it's possible that you are an accidental Satanist and not aware of it. So let's review it so that there can be no more confusion. Let's begin. So, what is an accidental Satanist? Obviously, it is someone who identifies with and carries the ideas of Satanism, but obviously not on purpose. It's not intentional. They do not do this willfully, but accidentally. They don't knowingly desire to practice Satanism, but they still do nonetheless. That may sound ridiculous to you. It's not like someone can be an accidental Muslim or an accidental Christian. So saying you're an accidental Satanist might not make any sense to you. And because that is not something that is easily understood, it is exactly why there are accidental Satanists today. Now be clear, just because you're an accidental Satanist does not make you a worshiper of the devil. Let me make that clear. Worship is a feeling of adoration and reverence. You don't do this by accident. This is a conscious decision. If you worship the devil, you know you are doing this. Just like if someone is worshiping Yahweh, they know that they are doing this as well. So an accidental Satanist is not a devil worshiper. Be clear. But in the end, it really doesn't matter. What I mean is that in the eyes of our Creator, accidental or not, a Satanist and a devil worshiper are still the same thing. What needs to be understood is what a Satanist actually is. Because believe it or not, Satanists as a majority do not claim that they worship the devil. And though in the end it really is semantics, like a tomato-tomato type of thing, the distinction is important to understand in the context of what I am explaining. A devil worshiper will always be a Satanist, but being a Satanist does not always mean that they are a devil worshiper. Okay, so what is a Satanist then, right? Satanism is not about worshiping Satan. It's about worshiping yourself. A Satanist puts their beliefs, thoughts, priorities, motives, basically how they live their life. They live their life based on their own rationale and reasoning. Maybe I'm getting your attention a little bit more now, because maybe to you, that doesn't sound that bad. Being a Satanist is living by a simple rule. That rule is, do what thou wilt. A Satanist believes in the doctrine of do what thou wilt, which in today's modern English means do what you want. I'm not going to go hard in explaining this. I do discuss this in other videos like the hip-hop video. But it's very simple. A Satanist does what they want to do. They do what they feel is right or wrong. It's about liberation. And the thing is that this mentality has been spread over time so that many don't recognize that this is satanic doctrine. Many people just look at the typical stereotype of a Satanist and believe that's what Satanists are. To most people, a Satanist is described as a person wearing all black with that hard, heavy metal look that wears all black makeup on their face and does a lot of weird things. That's what many classify a Satanist to be. And because most people don't fit that description, a normal person would never consider that they were a follower of Satanism. But that is just a stereotype and a way of hiding reality. There are more declared Satanists than you think, and a majority of them do not look like the stereotypes that we want to place on them. They look like an everyday person. They may work with you, go to school with you. You may see them on TV, and you definitely see them in your churches. But these are declared Satanists. They know that they live under the rule of doing what they want and worshiping themselves. The thing you must understand is that many people, other than the self-declared Satanists, actually subscribe to the satanic doctrine without declaring that they are Satanists. You see, a person can believe that they are a good person. They give back to their community. They donate to charity. They don't drink alcohol or do drugs. They don't disrespect people that don't disrespect them. They are what they feel is a good person. But they don't think that they are a Satanist. But this person actually very well could be a Satanist. Let me explain why. Being a good person or not is subjective. It depends on whose standards you are measuring them by. I can always find a person worse than me to judge and compare my life to. So just because I believe I am a good person, that means nothing. How many times, honestly, do you hear people say that they are a bad person? What people really don't think about is that they are a created being, and they are putting their own personal thoughts, their reasoning, and rationale in priority over what our Creator believes is good, and how He wants us to live, and what He wants us to set our mind upon. It's about, who do you serve? Who is your master? What master do you serve? In the movie Avengers Infinity War, there was a part in the movie where Doctor Strange asks that question.
All right, let me ask you this one time. What master do you serve? What master do I...
And then Chris Pratt, who offstage hypocritically calls himself a Christian, says,
What master do I serve? What am I supposed to say, Jesus?
The question and his answer really had no place in the movie, except displaying that it was foolish to say our master was Jesus. But that part goes into this whole understanding. What master do you serve? Is it Yahweh or Satan? So let me explain what the opposite of a Satanist is. That is a follower of the way, what the world today has labeled as a Christian. But today, that label can be dangerous because there are many Christians that are Satanists. So rather than going by a label or classification, let me explain the mindset of someone who is opposite of a Satanist. This is someone who serves Yahweh, our Father in heaven, our Creator. When you serve Him, you are following His ways. You are abiding in His will. It's His will be done. When He is master of your life, He is what is most important. You live to please Him. You believe fully in His Son, Jesus Christ, whom our Father sent, and you have accepted Him as your master and Savior. Now, when a person practices Satanism, it's really about serving themselves. Satanism promotes doing what pleases us and what we perceive as acceptable. As a Satanist, you do what you feel is right in your own eyes. You do what you want. And when we do this, we stop serving Yahweh and begin serving Satan. Yahweh has rules. He has commands and ways. Things He does not want us to do and ways He does not want us to live. A Satanist says that they are not governed by these rules and laws of Yah. But this is not always something that is easily discerned in our own self-evaluations. Many people don't recognize that their lives are saying that they don't want to be governed by Yah. Maybe you say, well, I'm not Satan, so even if I serve myself, how does that make me serve Satan? And that's an understandable question. You see, right now, Satan doesn't care if you serve yourself or if you serve him or wherever else you are serving. His main goal and agenda right now are not about serving him as much as it's about you not serving Yahweh. His goal and agenda is to remove you from true worship of our Creator. If you become your own master and serve yourself, you are still against our Creator. In Matthew chapter 6, verse 24, in his Sermon on the Mount, Yahshua told us that no one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will be loyal to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve Elohim and Mammon, material wealth. You cannot serve Yahweh and serve yourself. Satanism is liberation. But the thing that must be recognized is that the person is liberating themselves from dominion and control of the Most High. They say their view and the way they want to live is what matters most. When we live our lives away from what our Creator has deemed important to us, we are making ourselves our own gods and seeking our own will. So you believe in God, but you don't feel it's wrong for you to speak vulgarly and with profanity. You don't think there's anything wrong with sex before marriage and having multiple partners. You don't think it's wrong to seek out wealth and extravagance before seeking God. There's nothing wrong with putting other things in front of your relationship with God. Reading the news or watching sports is more important than reading your Bible. Your education and career are more important than understanding the Bible and applying it to your life. You may believe, hey, you have to live in this world. So yeah, you believe in God. But in order to survive and make it in this dog-eat-dog world, you believe you have to do more than just believe in God. And because there are so many hypocrites that say that they believe in God, but live so hypocritically, no one can judge you for your few mishaps. These kind of thoughts, along with many more, are exactly what creates an accidental Satanist. It's not your intention to be one, you are just living your life. But the fact is that you are placing yourself in priority of our Father in heaven. You are living your life the way you think is right for you. This is what I want you to consider and rethink. Because there is a way that seems right to a man, but its end is the way of death. That's Proverbs chapter 14, verse 12. Most accidental Satanists don't live with the full realization that in the end we will be judged. But we will be. It's not enough to just say that you're a good person, or you're a better person than you used to be. You must stop making yourself a god. Listen, you're not that important. You will not judge yourself. You cannot hide from our Creator. There is no creature hidden from His sight, but all things are naked and open to the eyes of Him to whom we must give an account. Hebrews chapter 4, verse 13. The devil has devised a masterful trap that has distracted the majority of us and placed ourselves as priorities when we are not the priority. You must come to recognize that you may have put God on the back burner. You have moved Him as priority, or more than likely, He never really was. He is maybe secondary, or third, or even eighth in your life under many other things. You wouldn't even know that you don't align with God because you haven't taken the time to read His Word. I'm not coming at you or judging you. Please understand this. Today, this is something that many of us are doing. We are accidental Satanists because we have made ourselves God before our true Creator. And it's time that we at least recognize it. Many of us want to live in ignorance and not deal with the reality that we have consequences for our decisions. After this video ends, you can go on and live your life the way you think it should be lived. But please don't forget that you are not governed by yourself. You are not able to set your terms in this world. And maybe that is a way that you have lived your entire life. But you must now ask yourself if you have been distracted and played. Has Satan introduced you to his doctrine and you accepted it unknowingly? Has he told you that it's okay to do some of the things you like to do and you just accepted it, even though it's not accepted by our Father? Have you been living in a satanic mindset all these years and never realized it? Most people have rationalized not really being religious and believing fully in the Bible. But what I'm sure most have not done is recognize that these thoughts that they have come directly from Satanism. The Church of Satan and the Satanic Temple teach these views. They are bringing this doctrine to the schools as an after-school club. If you're doing what you want and choosing not to be governed by our Creator, you are a Satanist, and it's time that you realize this today. If you want to fix this, you can start today. Talk to our Father, pray to Him, and tell Him you are sorry for not putting Him first and submitting to Him. Ask for forgiveness and believe in His Son whom He sent. This is not about going to church. I don't want you to feel like fixing the problem is about going to church. That's religion, and He's not looking for that. He's looking for a relationship. Now, a good church can help you grow, but in the end, it starts with you seeking Him. And this starts in His Word. Read His Word and start understanding what he says about all things and start living your life based on his rules, living his reality, and not a false one that tells you that he does not matter. His kingdom is approaching, and you do not want to miss him or hear him say, "I never knew you," or have Yeshua vomit you out of his mouth because you were lukewarm. He is our creator, and he is our priority. There is a time that we all will be judged, and you do not want to be on the side that said you wanted to live life the way you wanted. This channel has many different videos that maybe can answer questions that you have had about many things pertaining to him. I pray that the videos assist you in your walk. So now that you have watched this video, if you continue to choose to not live governed by our Creator and still live by what pleases you, you are no longer an accidental Satanist. You are an intentional one. Please ask yourself, is that really what you're trying to be? Make the right decision. Be blessed. Okay, thanks again for watching. If this has blessed you, please make sure to like it and share it with others. If you haven't done so already, please make sure to subscribe to this channel. Elohim willing, I upload every Friday. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel on Facebook and Instagram, as well as on my website, truthunedited.com. As always, I like to thank all who donate and contribute to this ministry. Your donations are truly a blessing to the ministry and help very much. Thank you for your love and your support and letting our Father use you. You are truly a blessing, and I really appreciate the support. Be blessed. Okay, thanks again everyone for watching. I love you all.